who can afford to live in America? Thanks, Biden. That's the question being posed by Michael Wilkerson, the founder of Stormwall Advisors. He joins us now on American Sunrise. Michael, appreciate you being here. You know, you say we are creating this dual-tiered society between homeowners and a vast majority now of Americans who just can't afford a home. And of course, that's just one of the big problems. So take us through this, Michael.
Well, we've hit a point now where the majority of Americans can't afford to buy a home. So today, according to the Fed, it requires about 40% of the median income to be able to afford a median priced home. That's well above the 30% that is considered to be affordable, to be sustainable, and where someone can live comfortably. According to another report, it takes nearly $300,000 a year for a family of four to be able to live comfortably in the Northeast and the West Coast. Even if you're in the less expensive states in the Midwest, it costs $200,000 a year. Part of the problem here is that we've seen over 20 or 30 years now that the low inflation, easy money policies that kept interest rates artificially low sounds good, right? To have low interest rates, but if it's below the market rate of interest, the natural rate that would occur without Fed intervention, housing prices have risen. And certainly since the Biden administration came in and really perpetuated this inflationary period, we've seen housing prices, shelter prices generally, are up over 22% in just 3 years. If you go back all the way to 2000, over 2 decades now, housing prices have nearly tripled. Well, all that would be well and good if real incomes had increased at the same time. They haven't. Americans have fallen further and further behind. And the American dream of home ownership is now further and further out of reach for what is now the majority of American households.
You know, Michael, we think about what can President Trump do when he is hopefully reelected in November. And you think regarding the border, for example, okay, you've got to get all the illegals. You've got to get them all together. You've got to get them out of the country. You've got to wall up the border. Like these steps are easy and you can do them all because there's not a lot of fallout necessarily to any of the things that need to be done. But the economy is different. It's more sensitive to fluctuations and changes and some of the stuff he's going to need to do to really get our economy back in shape, Michael. They're going to take some time. How would you advise President Trump if he asked you today? How would you advise him to start and to get this problem fixed in the 4 short years that he would have to do so?
Well, the first thing that has to happen is a reversal of the Biden policies in energy that undermined the Trump era policies. So we need to get our energy complex moving again. We need to break down the regulatory barriers that keeps companies from investing, from being able to develop new energy resources. We have the best energy, most affordable energy in the world, enormous resources. It's one of the things that makes America great to begin with. So number one, reset our energy complex, free up our companies to be able to produce and develop. More broadly, we need a resuscitation of the manufacturing base that was hollowed out over nearly 30 years of bad policy. Part of that includes an appropriate trade and tariff policy that keeps other countries from dumping at unreasonable prices their goods into our country. So we need to restore the manufacturing base, get our energy moving. And as you mentioned, we need a sane immigration policy and practice that doesn't overwhelm the nation's resources and squeeze out jobs from Americans at the lower end of the employment market. I just saw today a report that is a warning to America that in Germany, now 2/3 of unemployment benefits are going to first-generation migrants, many of whom aren't even citizens. That in itself, spending money on using American taxpayer money on immigrants and then spending money we don't have through printing presses of inflation. These things are all harmful to the American economy, to the American middle class.
No doubt. Well, we'll hope that help is on the way. Michael Wilkerson, thank you for being on today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.